Hi there, welcome to the third episode of my 10-minute moan of today. The topic of this one is yet another SNP farce, where a policy they thought would fix all their problems simply hasn't worked. Now, what topic is the headline in the Express, who are one of many to cover this story, sets the tone. Alcohol deaths soar to a 15-year record despite the introduction of minimum unit pricing. There's now been more than 19,000 booze-related deaths since the SNP came to power, and more than 7,000 of those in just the last 6 years, since Enact's flagship MUP, minimum unit price, policy was rolled out, pushing up the price of cheap drink nationwide, because this is what they thought was going to fix all their ills and just make drink dearer. Where it's not really worked out that way, because all people do when you have addiction, you either get more money by whatever means possible or change your drink, but you still drink. The real way to deal with alcohol problems is probably very similar to how you should deal with drug problems, and that's help the person, not just make it harder for them to buy. That doesn't cure the addiction. So the story goes, alcohol deaths in Scotland remain disgracefully high on the SNP government's watch. New figures have revealed there were 1,277 alcohol-specific deaths in 2023. That's nearly 4 every day. The statistics from National Records of Scotland led to renewed calls for the minimum unit pricing policy to be scrapped. Critics said the Scottish Government must finally accept that this has monumentally failed. Drink-related deaths have now risen for 4 years running, with the number of fatalities in the most deprived areas of Scotland being 4.5 times higher than the wealthiest areas. And you would think something which puts the price up would have more effect in the deprived area. There's a massive gap there. Shadow Health Secretary Dr Sandesh Gulhane says the number of deaths is horrifying and highlighted that more than 19,000 people in Scotland have lost their lives to alcohol since the SNP came into power in 2007. He said the level of deaths is utterly horrifying and shameful for an SNP government who insist they are progressive. It is our most deprived communities that continue to be hit the hardest by their feelings. The SNP ministers, who have been wedded to their flagship minimum unit pricing policy to tackle this crisis, must finally accept that it has monumentally failed. It has been a blunt instrument to tackle a complex problem, with those suffering from alcohol addiction skipping meals to buy more drink. Even as SNP ministers hiked prices by 30% during a cost of living crisis, I do apologise. Instead, he urged the SNP ministers to finally back the Tories' right to recovery bill, which would enshrine in law the right to treatment for drug and alcohol addiction, including residential rehabilitation. Dr Gulhane said it has the potential to be a game changer in our fight against addiction, and these latest appalling figures should be catalyst for SNP ministers to back it. I would urge them to back it as well, not because the Tories tell me, because Anne-Marie told me. In 2023, total rose by 1 on the year before. The highest mortality rates were in Inverclyde with 33.9 per 10,000, followed by Glasgow at 32.8, North Lanarkshire at 29.5, and Dundee at 27.7, with the Western Isles 27.4. Meanwhile, the number of people in Aberdeenshire, Angus, Clackmannanshire and South Lanarkshire whose deaths were caused by alcohol has risen to the highest since records began 45 years ago. And Fife and Scottish Borders saw the highest death tally equalled last year. The SNP brought in minimum price of 50 pence per unit of alcohol following a lengthy legal battle, with the legislation coming into force on May the 1st, 2018. Earlier this year, MSPs voted to increase minimum price to 65 pence per unit to be enforced from September 30th. So that will be, 15 pence. That's going up by almost another third the actual minimum price. That won't work either. Wales has since followed suit, but there's no plans to adopt MUP in England, with little evidence to show that it's working and experts divided over the impact of the flagship policy. The NRS pointed out that alcohol-related deaths have risen across the UK since COVID lockdowns, with more people turning to drinking at home. However, many critics believe that driving up prices of cheap, high-strength alcohol has forced many problem drinkers onto so-called street value pills, which are available for as little as 50p each. This in turn has been a major factor in Scotland's drug death epidemic. So we've got the new price. It's going to cost you a minimum £18.20 for a bottle of whisky and £17.07 for vodka and gin if they're 37.5% for a 700ml bottle. With a litre of vodka or gin, minimum £24. 12% wine, minimum £5.85. 4 cans at 5%, £572. So that's where it's going to go. However, Jenny Mento, the Public Health Minister, funnily enough, insisted today that MUP had saved hundreds of lives. Hundreds. The Scottish Government is determined to do all it can to reduce alcohol-related harm, and we continue to treat it as an equal priority with drugs as a public health emergency. She said, research commended by internationally renowned public health experts estimated that our world-leading minimum unit pricing policy has saved hundreds of lives. It's been out for 6 years. Likely averted hundreds of alcohol-attributed hospital admissions and contributed to tackling health inequalities. The forthcoming price increase to 65p per unit, which takes account inflation, was selected as we seek to continue and increase the positive effects of the policy. May I ask you one question, please, Jenny Minto? What positive effects of your policy? There are none, apart from wherever this 65 pence per unit goes. I don't know where it goes. I'm not sure how you collect that and what you do with it, but that is the only positive effect of this policy. To suggest otherwise is not only completely stupid, it is also completely harmful and probably upsetting to the thousands that have lost their loved ones to alcohol under your watch. But it's doubtful you'll take the word of people I know, like Anne-Marie, who's been working with drug addicts for a long, long time and an advocate of this right for help bill that the Tories are pushing through. You know, why would we listen to people like that actually know how to deal with addiction? How you deal with addiction is put the price up. I don't think price has ever stopped any addict in the world. Even folk addicted to gambling, where you need money and it's the only currency available to gamblers, still find a way to gamble. But the drug and the alcohol problems, we are the worst in the United Kingdom for this, as well as the drugs. So nobody can have any faith in you, your party, or your government helping either of those things, being the worst for drugs and the worst for alcohol. You are terrible. You should be ashamed of yourselves. You are, beyond doubt, the worst gang of people ever to inhabit the Scottish Parliament as a government. Shameful. And you can't do it. There is what, baby boxes? Is that what we're up to? Is that our best thing of after 17 years in government? Here's a challenge. I'll come into your government and we'll still give newborn kids stuff free, but it'll not cost the Scottish Government any money to do it, because it's actually quite simple to do. And you guys, in your 17 years in power, can you figure out how we could give all these people that have new kids big bag of goodies free of charge? You just haven't worked it out. I worked it out after about 5 minutes of thinking about it, because see, when my kids were born, which were a long time ago, before their free baby boxes, guess what? They got free things from the maternity hospitals. And who paid for the free things? The manufacturers, because they want to put samples of things into newborn babies' families, houses, so that once they've used the free samples, they'll probably buy them. But no, you guys. You're going to spend money. And that's the best thing. That's probably the only thing, or the type of thing, that you will say, but we did that was really good. You're killing people because you are incompetent, because you can't even get baby boxes right. What chance does the Scottish public have of getting the difficult things right, like drug and alcohol abuse, like housing, like NHS, like roads, like transport, like building ferries? You guys are incompetent. Your days are up. Just a matter of time. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please subscribe and hit the notifications bell. Join in the comments below. They're always good fun. However, the most important thing of all, unless you're the SNP or any of their ever-dwindling cult members,
everyone else, have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.